Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into the absolute visionary who literally changed championship golf forever, Robert Trent Jones Sr. We're not just talking about a guy who moved some dirt around to build golf courses. We're looking at the architect who drafted the modern blueprint for the sport itself.
He had this incredible mindset. He famously said, "A golf course should not merely test a player's swing. It should test judgment, courage, patience, and imagination." Think about that. Back in the 1930s, this was a total game changer. It wasn't just about smashing the ball as hard as you could anymore. It became this intense physical and mental chess match against the hazards he laid out.
And honestly, if you were to grade his career across his 60-plus years in the business, he's got a 5-star resume across the board. Innovation, championship influence, global impact, strategic design, lasting legacy, he aced all of it. He's known as the father of modern championship golf because he completely rewired how clubs operated, how TV broadcasted the game, and how every future architect approached their designs.
Section 1. Father of Modern Championship Golf, Building the Blueprint. Let's start by looking at exactly how he took golf from a localized pastime and turned it into this global standard for championship play. So his signature philosophy boils down to this really brilliant idea. The difficult par should be a strenuous par, not an impossible bogey. The genius here is flexibility. He wanted his courses to be an absolute torture chamber for the world's best pros during a major tournament, right? But at the exact same time, he wanted the weekend warrior to actually enjoy their Sunday round without losing, a dozen balls in the process.
Section 2. Strategy over simple distance. Evolving with the game. How did he actually strike that perfect balance out on the turf?
Well, it's fascinating when you look at the shift from the classic persimmon era of older equipment to the massive distances of the modern titanium era. A lot of architects just finish a course, pack up, and walk away, but not Jones. He was famous for going back to his old courses years later to literally tiger-proof them. He knew that a bunker that terrified Ben Hogan back in the day wouldn't even make Tiger Woods blink. For him, great architecture had to evolve right alongside the greatest players.
Critics used to complain that he was just obsessed with making courses super long. But honestly, distance was just a tool he used to ask the player better questions. By using things like expandable championship yardages, huge landing areas, and incredibly strategic bunkering, he forced you to use your brain. He built large greens with countless pin placements, demanded heroic carries over hazards, and created recovery areas that rewarded sheer imagination over blind luck. It was never just about length, it was about forcing you into complex, high-stakes decisions.
Section 3. Designing for television audiences. Creating the drama. Now let's see how these exact design choices perfectly fueled the massive explosion of televised sports.
Put yourself in the golfer's shoes for a second. Imagine standing on the tee box on a Sunday afternoon. Millions of people are watching at home. You're staring down this heroic carry over water, and you're asking yourself, should I attack? As golf turned into a massive TV spectacle, viewers at home wanted way more than just nice scenery. They wanted drama, they wanted risk, reward, and everything on the line.
Or should you play it safe? His finishing holes turned into these natural, dramatic stages for television, because fans weren't tuning in just to watch nice golf swings. They were tuning in to watch human beings make incredibly high-stakes choices under immense pressure. Would their courage pay off with a spectacular birdie, or would impatience lead to an absolute disaster in the water? That exact blend of strategy and spectacle heavily shaped how we watch pro golf today.
Section 4. A legacy measured in generations, the coaching tree. Now, his massive influence didn't just stop with his own designs. It multiplied through the people he inspired.
Very few professions have a family legacy quite like this. It's basically a legendary coaching tree where brilliant design philosophies just keep evolving. You start with Robert Trent Jones Sr., the pioneer. Then, his sons developed their own highly respected styles. Robert Trent Jr. became famous for perfectly blending courses into the natural landscape. And Rees Jones? He earned the incredible nickname, the Open Doctor, because clubs were constantly calling him in to modernize their layouts right before hosting the U.S. Open.
But it went way beyond his sons. Countless young visiting architects would literally walk his construction sites just to study his techniques and carry his philosophy worldwide. They watched how he shaped his greens, exactly how he positioned his bumpers, and even how he communicated with bulldozer operators out in the dirt. His greatest legacy as a teacher wasn't just creating carbon copies of his own work. It was pure, widespread influence on problem solving. Section 5. Walk these historic fairways. Experiencing the vision.
So, where can you actually go today to step into a golfer's shoes and experience this strategic genius for yourself? His resume is literally globetrotting. You've got the generational test of Firestone Country Club in Ohio, the stunning coastal brilliance of Spyglass Hill out in California, iconic major championship homes like Bellerive in Missouri and Congressional in Maryland. You can see his absolute mastery of dramatic ocean views at Mauna Kea in Hawaii. And of course, the RTJ Golf Trail down in Alabama, which is just this monumental tribute that brings championship-level golf right to the public. If there is one single hole that perfectly captures his demand for thoughtful golf over just reckless power, it has to be the magnificent 16th at Firestone's South Course. It's a hugely demanding par 5. Sure, long hitters can aggressively try to reach the green in 2, but the water and bunkers are waiting to heavily punish even the slightest mistake. Or conservative players can lay up, but then they're left with this incredibly precise wedge shot into a highly protected green. There is absolutely no single correct way to play it. It all comes down to your abilities and your confidence in that exact moment.
Over 500. Just let that sink in for a second. That is the staggering number of courses he either designed or renovated across more than 45 countries. He brought this core philosophy of fairness and strategic demand to practically every single corner of the golfing globe.
The ultimate takeaway from his life's work is this. Yes, distance and accuracy are important, but your judgment and your commitment matter the most. Golf is a game of choices. Tournaments are rarely won just by having a perfect swing. They are won by making smart, committed decisions when the pressure is at its absolute highest.
Should I go for it? Every single time you stand over a golf ball and ask yourself that question, you are engaging with the very soul of championship golf that he helped create. He believed this was the exact moment where the game became truly fascinating. His layouts didn't demand total perfection, but they absolutely demanded absolute commitment to whatever choice you made.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with a little teaser for our next subject. We're going to look at a rebel architect who loved doing things very differently. He used optical illusions, deception, and literal railroad ties to test your courage on every single swing. Will you be ready to face the tiny target greens and visual intimidation of Pete Dye? Join us next time to find out.